Okay, so I'm going to go through an edpuzzle.com that I've created for my culinary class, and it's time to grade. So in my content, it actually has to do with this perfect pumpkin pie. And what's unique about the 7th period class is that it's the third class to do this ed puzzle that I've graded. So I have an idea of where my general students are coming in with their answers and all. When you're trying out an ed puzzle for the first time, you might, especially if you have classes that are split between 2 days, you definitely might want to take a quick look at it the very day that you first administered it, because you might see a variety of responses you weren't expecting that could cause you to reconsider the phrasing of your questions and things of that nature. All right, so coming to my classes, I'm looking at 7th period class. I've got 191 new answers, 17 out of 27 people have turned this in. I like to bring it up first and just kind of get an overview. And I am talking about students' progress and grades and all. But for point of illustration, Octavia Diaz is a new student just transferred in. Esmeralda, I'd have to double check, was in class that day. Alfredo obviously did not get this done. And Max as well. So based on what was going on in class that day and the fact that they had the entire period November 20th to get this done, it's time for some follow-up conversations. Now, this band is going to tell me when they finished viewing it, finished being the key word. Evan, for example, finished the whole thing just yesterday, November 29th, so that's clearly past due. The point to bring up on this is the record isn't going to show me how much he got done on time. So had I checked on Evan perhaps at the end of the day, November 20th, or before we had class again, if it was not a week off, I might see that he only got 30% done. And if you're someone who wants to emphasize the importance of finishing assignments on time, academic responsibility, and things of that nature, then you'd want to make a note of that. So for Max, say, if I bring it up, I'm going to be able to see that he has watched 30% of the video, but he's answered half the questions. So you can't just look at the percentage perhaps. You want to think about how many questions he actually got done. He got half of them done. Something else that can come up is someone like Juliana, 90% viewed, but she answered all the questions. Okay, so there were 16 questions, but there was a good minute plus of content at the end that didn't have a question. Doesn't mean she didn't finish. So I'm okay with that. Okay, so that's one thing to consider when you look at these bands and what they can illustrate. Something else that I like to look at personally, especially if I'm doing this for the first time, are some of the questions that I asked that have already been graded because they're multiple choice. So if I can come down to here, the question about pie crust being trim and how much of the pie crust is trim, an inch from the top, 19 out of 27 right. Okay, someone got that wrong. The temperature question about what I'm going to turn the oven on to when the pie goes in the freezer to kind of firm up, 425. So most everyone getting that right. Or everyone got that right. That's been graded. Okay, so I like to just kind of get a general view of what's going on, and you can click on that and see, how many people got it right. The 10 minutes, 59%. I got one person, 15 minutes, one person at 20 minutes. No one's saying the 5 minutes. And this whole 59%, don't get caught up in that, because that's 60% of all the eligible students who could have done this project. All right, but you can use this to kind of like be a little bit formative of where your students might be having problems, especially if this is something you're asking them to do before you're using some of the content in class. So again, I like to kind of scroll quickly through the multiple choice and get an idea of how the students did. So again, it's just one or two. And I'll get a better idea once I go through everyone's answers if it's one or two kids who are missing all the same questions. All right, now when it comes time to do the actual grading, there's a couple ways that you can do this. I can bring up the answers to grade, and then I'm going to see the question like the key to rolling out pie dough to keep it moving, the item that's sprinkled, okay, flour. very straightforward question. This is like an easy softball question. And I can basically just hit the green checks. I'm just looking for the word flower. I'm going to make a mental note. Liliana is a student who would say a complete sentence like flour sprinkled on the rolling surface before the dough is rolled out. I might stop and give her a comment on that, but time is of the essence, so I'm pretty much just going to click through. I don't have time to stop, unfortunately, the English teacher in me and correct spellings. Okay, so I got to just move through that. All right, so that one could be graded fairly quickly. Okay, we got a couple people. So it won't be a mess. So I need to not quickly click through. Okay, what item is sprinkled on the rolling surface before the dough is rolled out? The answer is flour. This is the reason why, sort of. So now it comes time for a judgment call. You could just say black and white. It's flour or wrong, right? And so it won't be a mess. It's kind of in the ballpark of it. So if I want to stop and give a time, say he uses flour, and I have my all caps on. And then I could award that person, say, half credit if I chose to. Okay. If you wanted to say that that answer is wrong, then just try to be consistent. I'm not saying the kids are, comparing notes, but it's just going to help you get through things more quickly. All right. Now, when I get to something that's a little bit more detailed, the answer, the fact that he's aiming for a 12-inch diameter pie dough, easier to gauge with this type of mat with circles. He's rolling from the middle towards the edges. Why do you think he flips this dough over halfway through the rolling process? All right, he doesn't explain that. So I know from setting that question up that this was not explicitly explained in the video, but this is me kind of getting a gauge of how well my kids can infer some information. All right, and then I like to, for longer answers like this, look through, get a quick glance. Okay, and this one is really all over the place. And I'm liking like Ashley flips the dough over halfway, wants to be even, not be thick one side and thin the other side. And I definitely liked Liliana's answer. He flips the dough over halfway through the rolling process so that it doesn't get sticky due to a lack of flour or get too thin. All right, so if I really like that one, or Ashley's, then I will come to comment on this. Actually, I'm going to hold on a sec. I'm going to I'm working on my MacBook. Command C that, so I have it on my clipboard. And then in the comment, I'm going to say, great job. Okay. Or I might say, perfect response. Exclamation mark. Gives her a little bit of props that way. And then she's going to get her green check. But I have that now on my clipboard so that if I have to add a correct answer in, I'm going to do that in my comment with the command V, MacBook again. Rolls it evenly so the doughs get to 12 inches. Doesn't really tell me why he flips it. Okay, so I'm putting a comment on that. It's about a half answer. To add more flour, that is definitely not enough. Why do you think he flips it over? Well, he had to add more flour, so that's about half. Actually, he does flip it over so he can add more flour, but he's not explaining perhaps all of it. So the dough would cook evenly. That's not it. And that's like a 0 to me. Keep the dough moving, no holes or bubbles. Yeah. So one side is more thick than the other. So the dough doesn't get thicker on one side. Stretch the dough out. I'd like to see a little bit more than that. So I'm calling that a half. Even it out. If you stretch it out and you didn't get but half, then I think that's going to be the same. And try not to sweat the fact that this is 50 out of 100 because it's 16 questions. So if it's half a point off of 16 questions, if every question's worth 6 points, give or take, this might be 3 points. A kid might get everything but this half and still get a 97, and they probably won't even care that you made that comment, right? So that's a 50. Okay, so you can just keep on going through. I'm not going to take you through the whole thing of grading in real time again. Some of the questions you have, obviously, if you set them up, you know which ones you think that should be pretty straightforward. This had to do with ceramic pie weights not being used if you didn't have them that you could substitute. He says dried beans, very clear in the video. When we get an answer like a cake, to me that's someone that is perhaps really not perhaps paying attention, just totally misheard something. Sometimes you'll see something like this. You can use rice, popcorn. They can be reused, and it might be like someone went out into the internets to be doing their own research. So even though those might be acceptable substitutes, depending on what you want to, choose your hill on which you want to die. If I'm really wanting to emphasize and I need these students paying attention to a video, listening for content, and providing the answers that came with the content, even if this might be an acceptable substitute, I don't think you want to put popcorn in the oven like that. You can give them a 0. Okay, you can mark that wrong. That's really a judgment call, right? Dry foods is not dry beans. Dry beans are dry beans. Beans, 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 beans. Now the question may come up, if you went and gave a green to someone that you didn't mean to, oops, I was too quick giving everybody perfect score. What do I do about that now? All right, well, you can come back and go to students, and if you remembered who it was, they kind of come in order. So it was like, it was like the third person. I'm not sure. You can go back and change that. So if it was, or it's like, you know what? Boy, who was that kid that told me about the popcorn? I was just being a little bit too harsh on her. Was that Urelli? You can come back. Some of you guys just like are grade it and I move on. Okay, I don't think about it. But I could come back and go, you know what? Maybe I was a little bit too harsh. I can give her half credit for that. Okay, so if you go too quickly, you can, go back, retrace your steps, and change a score. All right, just by bringing it up by the student. This also means that as students turn things in late, if you'd rather just do a student's response all at one time, then you can just, especially when kids are coming in, doing this after the fact, absent or whatever, you can just bring up a student and just answer or go through and grade the things as he or she answered it. But for me personally, because I kind of get into a rhythm, I tend to like to do all the questions at once. All right, that's just kind of a scattered tour of the inner workings of my brain when I'm grading these things. I think it's important just to be flexible and open-minded about the fact that you're asking a question you think that students should be able to understand and get it right, but that doesn't always work out that way. And one thing that I forgot to mention in this part of the video is when you bring up a student's individual answers, you're actually going to be able to see right here the number of times students watched each section of your video. And I've had bars up here that go all ones across, and a kid may get a perfect score, all ones across, and they get a low score. But more times than not, over my years of using these Edpuzzles, I've seen times where a section of video might be watched 3-4 times, and the student's still getting the answer incorrect. And it's not for lack of trying. I think I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. They're really watching it and trying to get the answer. And when I see a question that after viewing it 3 or 4 times, a few students are still not getting right, I really have to question myself as far as, did the video explain things clearly? Am I asking a reliable question? And things like that. And as you know, you can go back and edit your Edpuzzle to reflect a question that perhaps is going to get the answer more like what you're looking for.